I don't know. If I've been charged for a crime and I'm pleading not guilty, I don't know if I would not want a trial by jury. Don't get me wrong. A jury of your peers is not literal. I mean, a jury of my peers would be vegans who perform guitar at open mic events, and it might be very different for you.
I'm as real as a real can get. What you see?
Buongiorno freaks and geeks, welcome back to the channel. Now, admittedly, this video will come across as quite dry for some people because it involves court reform, specifically trial by jury, and it interests me for two reasons. First of all, I went to law school.
So is this registered or unregistered property we're dealing with?
Registered.
Registered. So do you hold the title deeds or?
No, we don't have the title deeds.
May I ask who holds them at this present time?
I presume it would be the lenders.
Oh, the mortgagee.
Yeah.
The bank.
Yeah.
Secondly, in my very early 20s, when I was a reactionary, I was called up to do jury service, and I have first-hand experience of the good and bad things when it comes to juries. So it looks like this Labour government's going to get their wish, abolishing trial by jury, where the crime has a maximum sentence, or the likely sentence for that particular crime is no longer than 3 years in prison. Now, full disclosure, I do believe in the abolishment of all prisons. I just don't think it's within human nature to be imprisoned anywhere, but I do understand it will never happen in the current society unless we take away all of the aggravating factors which would lead a person down a life of crime or do various different criminal activities. But living in today's world, I definitely don't think you should remove trial by jury, especially when appearing in the Crown Court. Maybe in the magistrates, whatever. I don't even know if they send people to prison if you appear at the magistrates. I'm sure it only results in court fines. So yeah, anything where you go to the Crown Court, you should just have a jury of your peers assessing whether you are guilty beyond all reasonable doubt. So before last week's vote on the second reading of the bill, Labour actually sent out one of their ministers to defend this potential law. One such venue was the Sky News studios. I'm about to press play, but before I do, please don't forget to hit the buttons for like, subscribe, and tell me down below whether you think it's a good idea to abolish trial by jury in its current form.
To talk about the courts bill, voted on later today. The idea is it would reduce the number of jury trials to try and deal with some of the backlogs in the courts. And we know a lot of Labour MPs are worried about this. There's also been a letter from over 3,000 lawyers today urging the government to think again. Are you in listening mode, or is this something that is already, decided is going to go through no matter what?
I don't think this Labour government's ever been in listening mode. They've done a lot of flip-flops. Keir Starmer's done a bunch of U-turns, but not because he's listening to anyone, it's because he's so indecisive and has no actual philosophy or political beliefs. The man is, what is it when you look both ways? I don't know, but yeah, he is the least consistent actor in politics we've seen in the last possible 25 years. Now, skipping to one of the proposed reasons as to why this bill was even brought forward in the first place, apparently this Labour government wants to clear a backlog. I don't know. If I've been charged for a crime and I'm pleading not guilty, I don't know if I would not want a trial by jury. Don't get me wrong. A jury of your peers is not literal. I mean, a jury of my peers would be vegans who perform guitar at open mic events, and it might be very different for you. But in its current form, a jury of your peers could be anyone from a very well-read academic to a person who not only votes for reform but also sends money to Tommy Robinson. And if those two people do appear on the same jury, they kind of cancel each other out. Now, if you get rid of the whole jury system, you're left with, I don't know, I need to look at the finer detail of this, but if it's one judge, that judge, especially in the Crown Court, is more likely to be a man, is more likely to be a white person, and more likely to be an upper class person. Now, looking at the people who generally get charged for crimes and are appearing in court, especially in London, that is not going to go in your favour. So you are going to be much more likely to want to stand in front of a jury of your peers.
Well, look, I think we need to explain why we're bringing forward the measures we're bringing forward today. It's because our court backlog stands at 80,000 open cases. You've got people reporting cases today that are having their trials listed for 2030.
I think that person would rather take that risk of a jury of their peers than just removing that. That's just my opinion, though.
That is unacceptable, and it's government's duty to act. It's why we've put in record investment into our courts. It's why we're modernising our courts, and it's why this bill is coming forward to reform our courts, to bring down those backlogs and deliver swifter justice for victims.
Why did she say that?
Yeah, but the way she's describing it is as if it's a foregone conclusion that that person who is in the who is the defendant is automatically going to be found guilty, which is a very strange thing to be saying on live television, because the whole point of having your day in court is that you are presumed innocent until proven guilty. So her saying...
And it's why this bill is coming forward to reform our courts, to bring down those backlogs and deliver swifter justice for victims.
It's almost as if she's presuming that everyone that's on this 80,000 waiting list is guilty. Odd. And it's also kind of an indication of where this Labour government's collective minds are at when it comes to criminal justice. Everyone is just presumed guilty. And maybe a lot of those people are guilty, but that's not how the legal system works.
We've engaged with stakeholders, lawyers, but also victims groups. The fact that a letter went out yesterday from 40 women MPs, their message was very simple. This cannot come soon enough because there are too many women and girls in particular waiting for justice. We've got to get those backlogs down, and this bill is a fundamental part of that.
I mean, it's a very, very slick tactic bringing up women and girls. Who's going to be against protecting women and girls? And dare I say, it might have been brought up very cynically. I mean, it's more than just women and girls that are victims of crime, right? Shouldn't we be trying to get justice for all victims? But I do think it's quite interesting that this minister specifically highlighted women and girls. Am I supposed to believe that of those 80,000 people in the backlog, or 80,000 cases in the backlog, are all involving women and girls? Because I would love to see those stats if that was the case.
You're also making some reforms to help rape victims in particular, right?
That's absolutely right. So today we are announcing the introduction of the Independent Legal Advisor Service for rape victims. That will provide legal advice to people going through the system. We know that for so long, conviction rates for rape have been really low. They've trebled under this government, so they're now at 9%, but that's really low. And what I hear from victims, I was speaking to 3 victims of rape yesterday, and they were telling me that when they went to court, they felt like they were the ones put on trial. And the fact that they've had to wait years for justice, adjournments, justice delayed really is justice denied, their lives put on hold, the mental torment, that ends. We are giving those victims the support they need, the legal advice they need, so that not only we can support them, but we can also put their perpetrators behind bars.
But you're missing a massive part there, because yes, we can all agree the conviction rate for accusations of rape and sexual violence is extremely low, like less than 10%. But you didn't speak about how many reports of rape actually result in a charge. Why are you not highlighting that? But yeah, in my opinion, anything you can do to support rape victims, you should do. But you're missing the point before it's even able to be seen in court. Like most reports of rape don't even end up in a charge. It may result in an arrest, but the charge is nowhere to be seen in the vast majority of cases.
Can I also ask you about social media ban? Because this was obviously rejected by MPs last night. In a way, I don't think we should read too much into that, because I know the government's got its own consultation,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you mentioned your kids at primary school. What's your own inclination on this? Are you, I guess, as an individual, kind of taking your ministerial hat off, do you intend to be someone who thinks actually it might be a good thing, or do you veer against?
That was a change of subject at breakneck speed. I guess we will finish it because it's not a very long segment, but in my opinion, I think it's quite funny that MPs rejected the proposed ban for under 16-year-olds, especially when it comes to social media, given how much we know about it indoctrinating young children in terms of Andrew Tate content and the rest of those types of red pill individuals. I don't have any children, so I can't really speak to it, but I know when I grew up there was no social media for me to be indoctrinated by, so I can only imagine the anxiety it fills parents with under 16-year-olds today.
Look, as you say, I'm a mum of 2 little girls. Our WhatsApp groups and our parent WhatsApp chats are full of discussion about this. And I hear the demands of families, and I feel it myself. We know the impacts that social media has had on lots of us as adults. And I think many parents are fearful of what it's doing to our children. And so the playground chatter is all about what can we do to regulate these social media companies? What forms of restrictions would work for families? What could be enforced and policed by parents themselves? Parents want those tools. I'm one of them. So I welcome the consultation. I'm glad we're having a national conversation about this. I'm glad we're listening to what's going on in Australia and learn the lessons from them. My inclination is we need to do something. We've got to act. It's a question of what and making sure we get it right.
But what about the ban, though? That's the big question, isn't it? Do you think, are you in favour or roughly, are you interested in?
I think instinctively I do favour a ban or major restrictions on social media for under 16s. I think it's where most parents and families are. But we've got to get it right, and that's why you have a consultation and you take your time to get it right.
OK, thanks very much indeed. Good to have you on the programme. Sarah Sackman speaking to us there.
I think it is quite interesting about the proposed banning of social media for under 16-year-olds, because in my opinion, if you are not allowing them to smoke for obvious reasons, then social media should be taken as serious, especially with the content you can actually access on social media, the various social media platforms. But coming back to the abolition of trial by jury, I cannot disagree with this enough. I mean, where would it end? Because if you start with sentences up to 3 years, will you just expand it even further and just have these white male posh judges preside over all of these decisions by themselves for the most serious crimes? I think convictions would definitely skyrocket, but I don't know whether it will be. No, I do imagine it won't be as fair at all. So yeah, I guess it goes hand in hand with how authoritarian Keir Starmer is, to be honest, because there must be other ways you can clear an 80,000 backlog without removing jury service. Anyway, tell me what you think below. And if you want to spot red flags in relationships, I voiced the audiobook, link in the description below. And remember, once we understand politics, we will make better decisions. Don't forget to hit the buttons for like, subscribe, and I will see you very, very soon. Ciao.